Hey, straight shooters. So I've tried to stay away from the Diddy saga since I last reported on Cassie's lawsuit. However, since that time, and in rapid succession, information continues to surface and has continued to take us deep down the rabbit hole and far into Diddy-Land. So today, we're going to explore the alleged message from Kim Porter beyond the grave through the medium and psychic Sloan Bella, the timeline of Diddy's spiraling downfall, and lastly, the newest piece of information, a male accuser, a Howard student who allegedly attended Howard during the same time as Diddy. So grab your popcorn, your tea, your beer, your wine, your liquor, or all of the above, and strap on that seatbelt because we are further delving into Diddy-Land. To my straight shooters, welcome back. Old and new alike, I love you guys. To my visitors, hello and welcome. So before we jump in, I need you to hit that like button. And if you're new and don't want to miss out on the latest celebrity news, subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell button so you never miss out when I drop a celebrity bombshell. Many of you may not be aware, but a woman who goes by the name Sloan Bella is a medium and psychic and professes to have been visited by Kim Porter, Diddy's long-term romantic partner and mother to 3 of his children, who suddenly passed away. Now, I'm not into all of that psychic jazz or connecting to those beyond the grave, but I must confess, this woman literally nailed the date of Cassie's lawsuit almost to the very day. Listen in to the shocking information Sloan Bella explained she was given as she channeled and connected with Kim Porter beyond the grave.
The months, probably truthfully 6 months prior to her passing, she was starting to see what he was for real and no more denying it. And a whole hell of a lot she saw. So everything she's writing about, like, she's kind of saying, I saw it. Like, I lived it. I saw it. It happened. This is what happened. So she doesn't really understand why that can't come out if that's what you're doing and what's your issue with it, which is really kind of interesting. And it has something to do with containing the energy of this person. But then she's like, he literally went dark, black eyes, dark, completely shut down and dark. So she didn't even know who she was dealing with. I have terminology for it, but she doesn't use that terminology. Deceitful, duplicitous, two-faced is word she uses. Liar, two-faced. She can see, by the way. She can see everything that he's done after her passing. She can hear him and she can see him. So if you think that you've sent her away or that you're keeping her bound, because she's basically saying that something is being done by this person whom she had children with, 3 of them. She is saying that he does things in order to keep her energy at bay because she's around him. I've got to tell you something. Okay, this is pretty funny. I think it's funny, ironic. She goes like in my face. She goes, boo, like that. Okay, like a cartoon. But she acts like she's trying to scare her ex. She is around him energetically quite a bit. She watches him, she sees what he's saying, she knows what he's doing. It's very, very transparent to her and you can't fool her. And you are going to stand so noted, accountable within the next 5 months. He's trying desperately to backpedal out of this. 5 months. The time is being marked. 5 months. So this is June, July, August, September, October, November. I'm going for November 15th. Or right around there. It's coming out. It will not be, you cannot keep this. She's literally, you cannot stop the truth. You cannot stop the truth. You cannot stop the truth.
Are you scared yet, Diddy? You should be, because clearly the fun has just begun. I do believe that he attempted to prepare to clean up his mess, so to speak, because if you recall, the psychic Sloan Bella said he was backpedaling. He knew the suit was coming from Cassie because he had already made an 8-figure offer. And after that wasn't initially accepted, he then decided to offer his artists back their publishing rights. And no, it wasn't from the kindness of his heart. He wanted to quell anyone speaking out, and that's why, in order to receive their publishing rights, signing an NDA was the only way to receive them. He tried to be smart, but you gotta be quicker than that. Now, let's take a look at the timeline, shall we? On November 16th, Cassie filed her lawsuit, and in less than 24 hours, on November 17th, Diddy settled. On November 23rd, another woman by the name of Joy Dickerson Neal accused Diddy of drugging and raping her when she was a college student at Syracuse University in 1991. That same day, Diddy was accused of SA by a third woman, according to a lawsuit filed in New York County Supreme Court. In the lawsuit obtained by People, a Jane Doe alleged that Diddy and singer-songwriter Aaron Hall took turns raping her and a friend in New York City more than 30 years ago. At that same time, a fourth lawsuit was filed, this one against Mr. Combs' companies and defendant Harvey Pierre, the longtime president of Bad Boy Entertainment. The suit alleged that Mr. Pierre used his position of power at Bad Boy to groom and SA his former assistant, and that Bad Boy looked the other way at the time. On November 28th, Diddy stepped aside as Revolt chairman, and that same day, Capital Prep Harlem, a charter school opened by Combs in 2016, also announced that they would be parting ways with the rapper. Then, if that weren't enough, on December 6th, a fifth lawsuit was filed against Mr. Combs and Harvey Pierre, and these allegations were brought by another Miss Jane Doe and are in many ways even more egregious than the claims brought by the prior victims, alleging that Harvey Pierre did crack cocaine before forcing her to perform fellatio, then trafficking a 17-year-old Jane Doe to Daddy's house, Diddy's studio, and was gang raped until she could no longer stand. And now, yet another accuser has come forward, this time a male, alleging he was raped by Diddy along with a man by the name of Lorenzo. Shout out to Tough Podcast for this information. Let's take a listen.
Yo, this is random, but my name is Blank, and I was SA'd by Diddy and a friend of his on April the 15th, 1989 in DC. It has took a lot of strength for me to get to this stage of self-assurance, but I now know that I have nothing to be ashamed of. I attended Howard University the same time he was there, and I was taken advantage of after an off-campus party. I will be the first to admit that I was a bit inebriated. Diddy noticed that I was intoxicated and offered to give me a ride back to my dorm. I trusted him at the time because we were acquainted with one another because we had an economics class together. So I get in the car with him and we ended up at an apartment. He gets out and says he needed to get something and he would be right back. After a few minutes, he came back to the car and invited me in, saying he needed to sober up before driving back to campus. I said, okay, cool. I get out and go into the apartment, and there was another guy sitting on the couch. The guy introduces himself as Lorenzo, and he was drinking E&J and smoking trees. Diddy goes to the bathroom and he is in there for about 30 minutes or more. He comes out and asks me if I want a drink, and I said sure. He fixed me a drink, and the next thing I know is I was weak, disoriented, and my vision was blurry. I was then told to snip something out of a bottle that would make me feel better, and so I did it, and it just seemed to make me even higher. I now know that it was poppers. Then all I remember is both of them taking turns sticking their hot dogs in my mouth, and I'm paraphrasing, guys, and me resisting all I could, but I was just weak and flimsy, and Lorenzo had a gun. The next thing I know, they both were taking turns trying to facilitate me, and blood and mud, all right? Paraphrasing here, what looks like mud, number two, right, was everywhere. The pain of them facilitating me, and I'm paraphrasing again, still gives me anxiety to this day. Alright, so you guys just heard all of that, and I do want to protect the integrity of my platform and say that everything that I just conveyed to you is all alleged. Now, I did ask him, was he going to file a lawsuit against Diddy like everybody else, and he said he absolutely was. He was just getting all of his ducks in a row, making sure that everything is copacetic before he moves forth. But he says that Diddy is going to pay for what he did to him that night, that he's never been the same person ever since that night. Now, something else that he said that would be a game changer when he files a lawsuit against Diddy is the fact that he said that he still has the same clothes that he had on.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this ride through Diddy-Land. Mwah!